Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Scary here. Hope you all had a nice new year. Here we are, January 26th. Whew. 25 went fast. 25 was my best year because I retired. Oh man, it was beautiful. Anyway, today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about home ownership and the do's and don'ts and the things you ought to look for. Start out by saying I had two properties that were two-family houses. That was the only way I was able to afford to get out from underneath the rent, with someone's foot on my neck, pay some more. So I just got my first house was a two-family, which was rental property. I lived in one unit, and I lived upstairs, and I had a guy downstairs who rented from me, which he paid my mortgage for me. I get the rent high enough where I virtually don't have a mortgage. I'm going to adjust this light. That's better. That was too bright. Gosh. So, and I had a home. I was building equity, and that's what it's all about, equity. You got to build up equity. Good for your credit. So it helps you start getting a credit report, credit line. Is having equity in a house. I mean, it's a long story, but that's the short of it. So, and I had that house for 10 years. I sold it and I bought a bigger two-family house in a nicer area of Cincinnati. I mean, it was a nicer area because my taxes were higher. But that was all in escrow because it was all part of the mortgage. But it was a better area of town. Well, so with these houses, the first house I got, I asked my dad to co-sign for me because I didn't have any equity, nothing. I had nothing to my name. I had a few $1,000s to my name. That was it. And so he co-signed it for me. So I didn't know all the particulars. And then he found his realtor. He got his realtor at the time who he knew, a chummy guy that he used to play golf with. And he sold me the house. And then he knew somebody who was an inspector and had the house inspected. They did a pretty good job of that house because I virtually had no problems with that house for 10 years. And the home was built in the early 40s. Just a backstory, a lot of Germans ascended on Cincinnati after World War I, and even the World War II, and they were incredible builders. So they built a lot of homes in Cincinnati. Anyway, so moving forward to my second home, my second two-family house. It's a good story because it was a structural abortion. So the guy that my dad used 10 years ago, before I bought this place, he had the same realtor. I used him to buy this next two-family house, which was in a really nice area of Cincinnati. And it was a bigger home. So I found out that the realtor who had the inspector that worked with him, that was his boyfriend. They lived together. It was two dudes, I don't have any problem with that. You love who you love, right? So that's another story completely. Anyway, so that was his partner. And so they worked in cahoots together. They had to because they lived together, right? Well, when he went to inspect my house, he overlooked so much shit. He had to, and I'll tell you all about it. But anyway, he inspected the house, and he told my realtor, it's fine, everything. Gary, looks great. Sign on the dotted line, get that mortgage going, get with your bank, get that going and work. And then the realtor, he gets his commission on the sale of the house, and all that. My first year living there, I was on the bottom floor because the bottom floor was really nice. It had hardwood floors. The home was built in 1928. It was an old home. And it was a poured foundation. It was really nice, So I thought it was a nice house. So I'm on the downstairs floor. I rented the upstairs out to a woman that was from Pittsburgh and was doing her internship in Cincinnati to be a doctor. And she was in her apartment upstairs for 5 months, and after 5 months I get a phone call at my place of work. And it's her saying that water is leaking in through her ceiling. And if I could look at it when I got home. So I get home and I go upstairs and I apologize for the mess. And you can see the water it's just a slow drip, but you can see it's a bubble on the ceiling, the plaster ceiling. And I put two and two together. I said, oh, okay, well, right above that is the chimney. The chimney doesn't work anymore, but it's there. What did the inspector do when he climbed up on the roof 5 months before that? What did he do before that? What did he say he was going to do? And on the inspection, he said, oh, I checked the flashing around the chimney. It was fine. It was fine. I checked the gutters. Everything was fine. All that was fine. All the things an inspector is supposed to look at, right? Screwed me big time on the chimney flashing because I had a chimney company come out that cost a fortune to replace the flashing on the chimney. But that's not all they replaced. They had to replace all that was exposed from the top, from the roof line up was a good 4 feet. They replaced all that brick because the guy that was doing the inspection, the flashing company also did brick and mortar work, said this chimney's about ready to fall apart. It has the original concrete between all the bricks and it was ready to fall over. He was showing me. I climbed up on this thing with him. I climbed up on the scaffolding. He was showing it to me. He was rotting away. And my inspector screwed me. He really screwed me. He said, oh, it looks fine, looks great. He didn't even look at it. Or he would have not inspected the house. Or he would have not have signed off on the house. I'm sorry, he was inspecting it. He would have signed off on the house, which would have delayed the sale of the house, which would have screwed both those guys out of commission. So he just signed away on it. If everyone else is cheating in the country or the world, because everyone's always looking for a shortcut, so it cost me $4,700 to have them replace the chimney from the roof up, replace the chimney and the flashing and everything. It was right as rain. It was good. It was great. So if you're ever going to buy a home, if you're out there, if there's anyone out there that are first-time buyers or newlyweds or getting their first house, want to build up some equity, get away from the rent and all that, I get it. Have a good inspector and make them sign off their work. I was too naive. I just wanted to buy the house. I wanted to move in. I trusted this guy. I trusted the realtor. He was a pretty good guy. He said his partner was an inspector, and he was a really good inspector. Oh, he's a really good inspector, Gary. You're going to love him. He's great. I love messing with that guy. His name's Jack. I love messing with him. I like him. He's a good guy. Anyway, that's how he talks. Anyways, so the next topic I'm going to talk about as a homeowner, there's two things you need as a homeowner. You need a roll of duct tape and a flashlight. And if you want to get squirrely, get a roll of baling wire. You can get it at a hardware store for real cheap. Get a big roll of baling wire. And what I mean by that, it's a saying I've used for years and years and years and years and years with duct tape. If you can't duck it, fuck it. It's the total jerry rig. And I don't know why the term jerry rig, but jerry rig's been around since I was a kid. That's what they call people that rig something with a roll of duct tape instead of calling a professional to come out and fix it. And I'll get into what I did. Very first thing I did after I had that roof leak around the flashing, I said, well, what else is all screwed up in this house? I mean, the house was built in 28, right? Went downstairs and I pulled I pulled away from the wall the washer and the dryer that came with the house that they said they inspected. The washer connections were fine. They looked like they were fairly new or just been replaced within the next couple of years. They look good. I pulled away the dryer from the wall, and it was jerry-rigged. The vent connector that went out the window was jerry-rigged with what looked like masking tape, which doesn't hold up for shit. If you're going to tape something, you use duct tape. Hello, duct tape is a fix-all. It fixes everything. If you can't duck it, fuck it. So he had masking tape around there with what looked like string from a kite around it, rigged up somehow to hold it, because the clamp that came with it was halfway up the vent, which the vent thing was made out of like aluminum foil. You've seen them. They're aluminum vents. They're like aluminum, like a thin aluminum, and but it's flexible. But it was halfway up the original clamp. Well, obviously at one point they had to take it away from the wall to do something and reapply it. Well, some amateur like myself tried to put it back on there and couldn't get the clamp back on because they didn't have a screwdriver. Because a lot of homeowners don't even buy basic tools. I mean, I got an assload of tools now. I was over the years of having that house. I had collected tools. They didn't have a screwdriver, so they tried to use a butter knife to screw back on there with a butter knife. I've seen people try to do that. And don't lie if you're watching this and you say, oh, well, I've used a butter knife. Well, what else? What do they say? Necessity is the mother of all invention. Well, I don't have a screwdriver, but I got a butter knife, right? You got to do what you got to do, right? Don't forget the duct tape. So what did I do? I had a screwdriver. I had a hammer. I had all that upstairs. But I didn't want to go upstairs. What did I have on me? I had my duct tape. So I pulled it away from the wall. I pulled the original thing off, the original vent connector off that goes out the window, that takes the lint out the house, out of the window, blows it out of the window. Now, you've seen them. If you haven't seen one, I'm explaining to you what they do. Because you can't let it blow all over you downstairs. It's bad, especially if it's a gas furnace. Especially if it's a gas and it's a gas dryer, you could probably suffocate and kill yourself. Anyway, from the fumes. I got rid of all the masking tape, the string. I don't know what the string was on there for. Threw the string out in the garbage can. And then I took some of my duct tape. But I got the really good stuff. I got the Gorilla tape. That's the black stuff. That's the stuff that you see on my thumb. Because I have an eternal bruise there. I had a cut when I was still working. It's slow to heal. Anyway, this is called Gorilla tape. Anyway, Gorilla tape is the end-all, be-alls of tape. It outdoes duct tape, but it's still duct tape. So I took the duct tape and I wrapped it around the vent hose, and then I really wrapped it around the metal piece of the dryer. And that thing wasn't going anywhere. And I owned the house for about 12 years before I sold it and bought this condo that I'm in now. And that sucker wasn't going anywhere. And make sure, you can't just put one application in a circle of duct tape. You got to really lay it on there thick. Because you don't want to hire someone to come out and work on that for you. Because by the time an electrician or whoever, vent cleaner or vent person or whoever comes out, they're going to bend you over. HVAC guys, electricians, plumbers, they will bend you over just for the service call. And I've seen some plumbers use duct tape. So why have a plumber come out? So that was the first fix. So I pushed it back into the wall, and now it was good to go. I was right as rain, no problems. There won't be any problems moving forward with the dryer. And the same with a toilet. You find fittings on toilets all jacked up. You see duct tape. I've seen duct tape on just about everything. A really good friend of mine at the time, he was no longer alive. I don't know. Anyway, long story there, but he has lots of rental property in a real crappy area of Cincinnati. He was like a slumlord. And boy, he used duct tape on everything. He didn't give a shit. It was Section 8 housing. He got his check from the government each month. He didn't care. And he knew how to do electrical work and plumbing work, but he wasn't certified in any of them. So if he couldn't do a quick fix on it with the tools he had in his box, he would just duct the tape on and just put you roll that tape over that pipe and roll it on there real good and snug, especially if it was like a pipe that carried water. You duct tape the hell out of it, especially if it's under your sink. If the tenant's got a leaky pipe underneath the sink and is spewing all over her stuff underneath the sink, and you don't want to go to the hardware store to get the proper fitting to put on there, and you're pinched for time. A person who has rental property like he had, slumlord, he just takes a roll of duct tape and starts at the very top and rolls it all the way down, goes around the bottom of it, goes all the way back up, duct tape the shit out of it. And then what he did is he took some crazy glue and went all over the duct tape on the outside and smeared it on there with a putty knife and like lathered the duct tape, the crazy glue with the duct tape, so it's not coming off of there. Did it leak again? I'm sure it did, but it was confined in that duct tape and was with maybe about 4 layers of duct tape, and the glue wasn't going anywhere. And he had that 8-family house. It was in downtown Cincinnati, real slum. It was an 8-family building. And when he went to sell it, I said, hey, Chris, let's look underneath that sink. Let's see if that thing's still there. We opened it up right as rain. Never moved. He was poking it. It was kind of like a sponge. He knew there was water in there. That's what you do. It's called a jerry rig. Homeowners, duct tape, baling wire, and a flashlight. Works great. So you get screwed. Inspectors will screw you unless you hold them to it. Most inspectors work with the realtor. Even if, let's say they're not your partner. Let's say it's not your wife or your husband, or the wife is the realtor and the husband's the inspector. Check the inspector. Go back and check his work. All right, check the flashing around the chimney. Oh, you did? Did you really? Can I climb up on that scaffold and look at it myself? And if they start to double talk, well, puke, and try to give you an excuse as to why, say, well, it's too bad. I'm not going to sign off on it. I'm not paying you for your inspection. I'll hire someone else. Putting you behind and putting your wife behind getting the sale. See what I'm saying? Because they want to make a sale on the house. The faster they sell, the better off they are. They got their money. They got their percentage from the sale of the house in their pocket, and they're down the street. And they're done with you. They don't care about you. They really don't care about you. And then you're left with the burden of, and then the person selling the house, they're like, yeah, that dumbass just signed off on the inspection. Oh, this is great. Let's get this done. Let's get the hell out of here. Screw him. And at the end of the day, you're screwed. So if you paid $140,000 for the house, but that was back in, I'm using myself as an example. That was like 2002 when I bought that house. You're screwed because what you paid for the house, you're going to pay another $15,000 on top of that for repairs that should have been done before you signed on the dotted line because you had a slippery, dirty inspector / realtor that didn't care about you. All they cared about was their commission. They're out there. I think there's more of them out there than there's not out there. I mean, they're all looking for the quick fix, the quick commission. They're all dirty. It's like, I have some of my friends say, Gary, you're so critical. You're so judgmental. No, I'm not. I'm not. So if that's what you want to call me, so be it. I'm calling it like I see it. See, and if you've looked at any of my past content, any of my past programs, you will understand. I call it as I see it. If I see bullshit, I call bullshit. If it means you're critical and judgmental, so be it. I'll own that. But so many people get screwed over on buying a car, buying a home, buying any goods or service, And they're too believable, too gullible. They want to believe that everyone's good. Everyone's trustworthy. That car dealer, he's not going to screw me. No, he's not going to talk about the recall that was on that car that particular year. He's going to be honest. He's got an honest face. See, I'm the person of reason. I'm the voice of reason. I'll give you an example. I'm going to give you an example because this thing's going too long. I get this. I got to get out of here. I was at the track. I was at the race book last week. I brought my buddy Angie with me, and she's a really good horse handicapper. But I just bet numbers and I bet names of horses. That's how I bet anyway. And there was a program that came out in the 60s called The Addams Family. It was a black and white show. I know I'm backtracking, but I'm going back to the race book, called The Addams Family, and they had Eddie and then Munster, who drove the limo. He was Lurch. Lurch was the butler, and then Eddie Munster, and then Wednesday, and then the mom, I forget her name, but they had a whole name of the group. And then there was a guy called Uncle Fester. He was part of the family. Which brings me to my next story about the race book. I said to Angie, I said, hey, see that guy down there at the end of the table? She goes, yes. I said, doesn't he look like Uncle Fester from the Addams Family? And she started laughing, and a couple other guys said, oh, no, I already know I call him Uncle Fester. Not to his face, but I'm a comment. They laugh because they know the show. And they agree with me. They go, yeah, that's pretty good. That's hilarious, And then that particular day I said that to Angie, and she agreed with me. And then there was another guy that runs his mouth constantly. After a race is over, he keeps on the table. Well, did you see that race? Did you see the jockey go for the stick and you went for it and they kept at him? That's how he won. That's exactly how he won. Well, it's over. The race is fucking over. Shut your mouth. And so I was saying to Angie, that guy just won't shut the hell up. He just won't shut the hell up. No wonder he comes to the race book every day because his wife probably tells him to get out of the house. And Angie says to me, she goes, Gary, you're so critical. I said, yeah, I guess I am. But you know something? I own that. Why? Because I call it like I see it. I'm not a bad person. And she knows I'm not a bad person. I'm a nice guy. I really am. But I call it like I see it. I call bullshit. The guy won't shut his pie hole. I'm not going to slap him in the mouth. I'm surely not going to confront him because I'm not an aggressive person like that. But I will comment to friends, how I feel about Exhibit A over there running his mouth. Or the guy that looks like Uncle Fester down there. He looked like Uncle Fester. I should take a picture of him. Put it on here. I don't pick on people out of malice or comment on people out of malice. I wouldn't want someone to hear my observations, but I'm not being critical. I'm being realistic. I'm saying what people think. That's just how I am. If you like my content, keep coming back. Anyway, that's just how I am. I'm not going to change now. Just how I've always been, and I'm always going to call it out as I see it. I call bullshit. I see it. Anyway, I'm out of here. I got to get going. I got a lot to do today. I got to go shopping. My cupboards are getting kind of bare, but I do a lot of intermittent fasting, so I don't eat much. It's a health thing, Yeah, I'll look up intermittent fasting. It's really good. You keep you away from the doctors. Anyway, I got to go. I got to get. You all have a fantastic week. Take care of yourselves and each other. Thanks for stopping by. Peace out.